In this video, I'm going to show you how to install a storm door, and we're going to do it right now. So this is the door that I'm installing the storm door on. I want to put a storm door here so I can open up the door and let some fresh air in. And also, this is what it looked like last winter. So I want to avoid getting snow and rain in there, and it eventually gets into the wood and can rot it out and swell up the door itself. So I want to avoid all that, so I'm going to install a storm door. To get the right size door, they're all standard sizes. So you measure the actual door. This is a 32 by 80. So that would be the size storm door you want to get. And when you install this door, it actually, the pieces sit on this trim. This is typically what an exterior door will look like. You'll have your threshold here, and then these pieces of trim butt up to the threshold on both sides, and then your storm door sits on top of this trim. So once you get the measurement of the door, you can get your storm door. And I have mine right here. It's an EMCO, and you can see it's a 400 series. It's a white door with nickel hardware, the door handle and stuff, and it's a 32 by 80. So I like to put this down flat on sawhorses like this. It makes it way easier to work on. And then I'm going to cut along where it says to cut and open this up and start the install. All right, once you got your door opened up here, make sure you got all your stuff. Inspect the door, make sure the window's not broken or any scratches or big dents or anything. Make sure you're happy with that. And then make sure you have your instructions. These ones were hidden under the door over here in case you're looking for those. I still recommend reading these instructions. In fact, they're really great. Since the last time I installed a door, these have improved drastically. They have all colored pictures and everything, step by step. So the installation since the last time I put a door in has changed a little bit. They made it easier. I've probably done about 200 doors in my lifetime, and they're all kind of similar. I'm going to show you the new way that they recommend. They give you these pieces to help out. So I'm going to do it that way because it does look a little easier. Now, one thing you'll notice is there's no door handle on this already. You're going to have to install it, but that means that this can swing left or right. And I'm going to make it so my hinge is on this side. Typically, you're going to want to have the door swing the same way as the other door. You know, have the handle right here. And you just want to make sure that it's not going to hit this door handle, that it's not going to interfere. And I don't know why you would, but if you want to, you can have it over here. I just think that's a little awkward, opening the door this way and then opening that one. So I'm going to install it where the hinge side is over here and the door handle is over here. So this is the door handle that's going in here, and I measured 40.5 inches off of the threshold. That's where they recommend this. And this looks like it's going to be fine. It's going to be close to the deadbolt, but I'm going to have enough room. If it was down here, I would not. It would probably be about here. So I got enough swing with the door handle so it can go down, and they give you exact measurements in the instructions, so you can make sure that you don't interfere with the door handle that's already there. Now, another thing to keep in mind is the rough opening from the, what is typically here is brick molding that comes with a lot of these doors. I have pine, but this opening should be about 32 inches for the rough opening. It could be a little less, it could be a little more. Same thing with the height. The height is not as big a deal, but luckily, very nice of them, they include this spacer right here if it's bigger. So if the opening happens to be bigger, you can put this spacer in and tighten your screws, and this hinge piece will still be tight. Make sure you put it on the hinge side, and because you don't want the hinge to be flopping around. So if it is a bigger opening, install this first right here. Otherwise, mine is perfect, so I'm just gonna use the opening that's there. Now that you've decided which side is the hinge side and which side is the handle side, you got to kind of look at it as like this is the inside of the door. You can tell because of the screws here, and the other side has no screws and has like a nice molding around the outside of the window. So picture this from the inside of the house. I know that my hinge is going on this side, and it can be confusing. So make sure that this weather stripping is touching the inside of the door like this, and just make sure you're putting the hinge on the right side in the right way. So when you go to attach this, you just turn it like this, and you want to attach these brackets into the door like that. Now that you have your hinge side, you want to look, and you'll see bolts all along the side here. You want to leave the top one and the bottom one in. Sorry, they're more like screws. And then you want to take this screw out and this screw out, the two middle screws. Now you want to line this up right here and measure this, and have the top of the door have the hinge being held out about 3/16 of an inch from the top. And then we're going to hold this up here and mark these holes so we can attach the hinge to the door. I've marked 3/16 of an inch right here. And these go in just like that. Mark that, like this one. And they actually give you a drill bit, which they never did before. That's one of the improvements that they made. And I'm going to pre-drill these. I'm going to go in about an inch. I'm going to hold my hinge here and make sure all of these pieces right here are flipped the right way. You don't want to attach this and have them get stuck. And make sure you use the right screws. These ones are unpainted. I think they're about an inch long. Get started. Okay. So you want it to look something like that. Held about 3/16 of an inch away, and I got two started. That'll make it easier to attach these. Hold them up here, pre-drill, and get the screws in. Sorry for the wind. It's not a good idea to do a storm door on a windy day either, but that's what I'm doing. So now the hinge should work just like this. Now on the bottom of the door, you'll see this door sweep. It has this little channel here where you want to slide in this weather stripping. So you want to just get it started like that, and then pull that the whole way like that. Now I'm going to take some pliers and try and sneak in here and pinch this. Just crimp the end of that so it doesn't move, and do the same thing on the other side. Now you can trim this off on each side. Now you want to center this sweep. Just gonna tap it a little bit. Make sure it's even on both sides. I'll make sure it's tight against the door. And I'm going to pre-drill right at the bottom of this notch right here. Don't want to go through the door, be careful. Same thing on this side. Now I'm going to install these small painted screws. And on the other side, on the opposite of the hinge, this is one of the new things they include, and this will help with installation. It'll help to sit the door on the bottom of the threshold of the door. That goes on this side, like that. And here's another new handy thing that they included. This goes on the handle side, opposite of the hinge, about 6 inches up from the bottom of the door. And it just sits in like that, and that'll help to tell you where this door should go and help with installation. This will rest up against that molding. Now, before we install the door on the hinge side, I'm just going to install this piece over where, if you were going to put the handle on this side, there's a hole there. So this piece goes right here to cover that up. Got my screws ready on the hinge side, and I have a level just to double check for plumb before I put the screws in. So I'm going to grab the door, set this on the bottom, and then butt this up tight against the trim and check for plumb and put my screws in the hinge side. Here we go. Check this. It's pretty much perfect. Looking good. Let's open it up. Nice. Okay, a little tip for you. On a windy day like it is today, be careful. It might be a good idea to just keep this locked into place, because I have seen these things just go flying and breaking. So watch out for that. Now, on the inside of the hinge, you'll see some screw holes. You want to put some screws in there as well. Now on the top, you can open the door and install your rain cap, and it goes in like this, like that. Now this is going to sit on top of this piece, and then what you want to do is get an even gap. So I'll put a screw in this side because I know it's going to sit flat on the hinge. And then make sure your gap is even here, which it is. Put one on this side. Now, in the situation that you're able to get screws on either side, but here the opening was a little bigger and there's a gap here, you're going to have to put a plug in here. So before you attach these screws, you want to put that plug in from the back side, and then I'll show you what to do from there. But I have some molding here that I can attach this screw to. The rain cap is all set. Now this is the plug that they give you to put here if there is nothing to attach to. And then you'll have to install this rain cap extender. Put screws in there. And that is for this model anyways. You might have a different model, so you might not have to worry about that at all. Now you can remove this piece. That is not needed anymore. And this is another new thing that they include in the kit. These are spacer foam pieces, which you put right here. One right there, one in the middle, and one at the top. And what it does is when you go to install this side piece, those spacers are actually going to touch this piece, and that's how you're going to know how much of a gap to have when you install that piece. Pretty cool. That's a nice addition. Oh, you can open up the door, this piece in, shut the door, and then, like I said, hold this piece against those foam pieces, and that'll give you a nice even gap all the way. Hold this piece up tight to the ring cap, move it over to that spacer, and attach your screws. There's another foam piece right here, so I'll make sure that door is closed. Push this over. And once that piece is attached, you can open the door and peel these off and discard them. Now this is specific to my door. You might not have to do this, but this piece goes right here, and then it creates a nice seal against that. So I'm gonna take all of these screws out along the edge so I can attach that piece. So I may have installed this piece a little early because this template for the door handle has to sit just like that. But I just loosened these screws a little bit so I can sneak it in there. So you want to take your, this is a door handle hole template, and make sure this is the top. And you want to take these edges and line them up with the hole that's mortised out in the door, just like that, and then make a mark up here, and then I'll sneak this in here and fold this around here and just hold the paper right to that mark. And then what I like to do is take the smallest drill bit I have in my arsenal and just make a little mark. Make sure this template is in the right place. And I'm just gonna just make a little mark with this in each of these locations. I'm gonna do the same thing on the inside of the door. This is what's gonna go here, so you have a little room for error. I'm gonna take that 1/8 inch drill bit, just enough to get through the metal. Now make sure you follow your guide for what size holes these are. On mine, the bottom and the top are 1/2 inch, and then the middle ones are 3/4. And I don't recommend using a paddle bit like this. I like to use good old-fashioned drill bits, because these can go in and then catch on the metal or the plastic, whichever your door is, and just tear it up and make a mess. Normal drill bits make a lot smoother of a hole. Make sure if your door is metal, you're using metal bits, and for a plastic door you can use a wood bit. So I'm going to drill this just enough to get through the metal on this side and a little bit of the wood, and then I'll go to the other side and do the same thing, finish the hole, because again, if you go through to the other side, it can tear that metal or plastic up and make a bigger hole than you want. So just be careful when you're doing this. That's all I need. Can't stress enough how important it is to have sharp drill bits. Dull ones just make this a whole lot harder. And we got our big old honking 3/4 inch, and you could do some step ups if you felt like it, where you do quarter and then half and then 3/4 if you worry about the bit wandering. But I have nice sharp bits, so we should be good. And they're very sharp. You take this foam out of the door, don't need that, and you want to determine this is for a left and a right, so this is actually not going to work because this flat part needs to be flipped around because it needs to sit in like that. So I need to take this faceplate apart and turn this and then reattach it to make it proper for this type of swing. Carefully take that off, just spin that, put that back on, reattach the faceplate. This goes in here. Now you can install this piece. Goes just like that, and on this side, this plate goes like this. I get the lock set in there like that. Okay, attach the screws, tighten those down. Not going to all the way yet. Now I can put the door handle on. I'm going to take one of these nylon washers, make sure it sets in there, that in through like that, and then you're going to see on each of these, right on the inside of the handle, is a set screw that you want to tighten with an Allen key afterwards. Put this nylon washer here, that one there, and you can hold that together and tighten those down. Which way should the door handle be? Like this or like this? I'm gonna leave it like that, just to mess with you. I'm gonna pre-drill some holes here and here. I'm gonna attach these screws. And then because this does still have some play to it, I just want to make sure this is even, like there's an even gap like that, and then I can tighten these screws in. Now I can attach the striker plate over here. Start with these holes. Adjust this however it works out for you. You see it go back and forth. So I'm going to go in about the middle and see how that works out. Let's try that. That's perfect. And the lock works. Good. Now I can attach these two screws. Yeah, that bit's definitely warped. I'm gonna throw it away right after I'm done. Now, one feature I really love about this door is this. You can pull this down and there's a screen right there. So I gotta attach this handle, which is really simple, 2 screws. Just make sure you attach this so that the clip goes up like this. And install your screws. There we go. And that way it locks that in. On the bottom, you can adjust your sweep. Take this piece out. Don't need that anymore. Now, just push this down until there's no daylight showing. You might need a screwdriver to help you kind of tap this because it is tight. Just a light tap. Yeah, I like that right there. Tighten those screws up. Now we're going to install the door closer, and this happens to have another upgraded design, which I actually really like. You want to measure about 2 inches from the window, and about right there is where we're going to put our bracket. So I'm going to hold this in the center of that, and I'm going to pre-drill all these holes. Now you can position that bracket and only put this screw and this screw in for now. Just like that. So make sure it looks like this, where this little loop piece is over here, and then this is just set against the hinge rail. And then put this screw in. And then you take this piece, and it has a little hook right here. So you want to hook that in. It goes just like that. Open up the door and install this one. And those screws are so long because they want you to get into framing, because there can be a lot of pressure put on this. Now you want to take your piston, and this piece here goes like this. This is what you use to hold the door open. And then you just put this in here, put the short pin in through here. And then another upgrade they give you is this little clip. You want to pull this piston open, snap this clip into place, and it's going to hold this out where it needs to be. It's going to sit in between those bumps and the piston. Now you can take this piece and use your long pin, and you can see it has holes here. That through like this, and then you want to hold this even. So measure 2 inches down, just like you did on the other side, to the center, like that, and then you can pre-drill some holes here. And make sure you don't drill through the door completely. You can install that screw. And do another one. Now you can open that door and take that clip off. Now the speed that this closes is up to you, but there is an adjustment screw right here, and it's closing a little slow, so I'm gonna adjust it out like this. Let's see how that does. That's better. Now, one last thing are these pieces here, and they go along this channel to cover up the screws. It goes all the way around. The way you install these is you put this side in first, right here, and then give it a little snap. You can even use a hammer if you want, but you should be able to go along and just snap it into place. Nice. So that's it. There was a lot of steps, but pretty easy altogether. And I did the half screen out here because I don't want my dog jumping through the screen or anything like that. And if, you know, we bump the car seat or something into the bottom, we don't want to rip the screen. But they have all kinds of different doors. Hopefully this helped you out. They're pretty similar all to install. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it. And if you want to see more like this, you can click hereish and hereish and check those videos out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely consider it. I have a ton of home repair and time lapses and all kinds of stuff. Thanks for watching.